Week 19 of the 2025-26 NBA season is over, which means it's time to run it back. This is Run It Back NBA Week in Review. I'm José Salviati, editor at thepeachbasket.net, and this is the show where we recap the week that was in the NBA by sharing the only objective NBA power rankings, the stats standouts, that's the best to do it by average in the week that was, and then we take a look at viral news in the NBA in a segment we call Full Court Press. Finally, we highlight the marquee matchup for the week to come. We start with the only objective overall top 10 NBA power rankings anywhere. You can read more about how we get to these rankings and see the entire list at thepeachbasket.net. Let's take a look at the top 10 at the conclusion of week number 19. Now, once again, for the fourth week in a row, there are no new teams in or out of the top 10. All movement happened inside the top 10. Let's see where things landed after week number 19. Starting us off at number 10 are the Phoenix Suns. They were 1-2 in week 19, and it cost them 2 spots. They dropped from number 8 to number 10, but hang on to the top 10 elite. At number 9 are the Toronto Raptors. They were 2-2 in week 19, and that bumped them up from number 10 to number 9 after week 19. The Denver Nuggets were also 1-2 in week 19, like the Suns, but unlike the Suns, that 1-2 bumped them up a spot. They moved from number 9 to number 8. So clearly that win just got them a few more points, and it was enough to move them up one spot. They are number 8 after week 19. The Minnesota Timberwolves were 2-1 in week 19, and that wasn't enough to move them up or to have them stay where they were. It cost them a spot. They dropped one spot from number 6 to number 7 in week 19. And the reason is because the Knicks were also 2-1. But again, those points, their accumulated points were just a little bit more than Minnesota. They played better teams, and Minnesota and the Timberwolves are really close right now. So every point counts. The Knicks hop over the Timberwolves. They come in at number 6 after week number 19. And that's it for the movement in the top 10. The top 5 teams remain the same. The Houston Rockets were 3-1 in week 19, and that kept them at number 5 for the 4th week in a row. The Boston Celtics were also 3-1 in week 19, and they stay at number 4 again for also the 4th week in a row. The Oklahoma City Thunder, which have been so good for so long, dominating the top 10, they're still had a good week at 3-1, but they can't move up. They are stuck at number 3 for the 3rd week in a row. The San Antonio Spurs were perfect. They were 3-0 in week number 19, but they could not move up to the number 1 team. They're number 2 again for the 3rd week in a row. And the number 1 team for the 5th week in a row went 2-1 in week 19. They are the Detroit Pistons. The Pistons are quite a story. They have got to be finals odds-on favorites, but I don't know if this is a team that scares you. This is a team that will beat you, clearly. But is this a team that scares you? I just wonder if they're going to make it out of the East. We'll see. Regardless, congrats to the Pistons and their fans. They are the number 1 team again for the 4th week in a row. No, I take it back, for the 5th week in a row. That's the objective top 10 list for week number 19. If you want to see where all 30 teams land this week, please visit thepeachbasket.net. Now let's shift our focus to the players. These are the best to do it by average in week number 19 of the 2025-26 NBA season. These are the best by average in shooting, rebounds, assists, blocks, steals, and points. We're going to condense our stats standouts this week to only the top 5. That is scoring, rebounding, assists, steals, and blocks. And those leaders were Kawhi Leonard. He led the association with 37 points per game. He only played in 1 game, but that's how averages work. He was the top dog. Nikola Jokic not only led the association with 16.3 rebounds on average in week number 19, he also led in assists at 10.7. He is a unicorn. Nick Clifford averaged 4 steals per game to lead the association. Congratulations to the Sacramento Kings player. And Victor Wembanyama sent back 4.3 blocks in week number 19 to lead everybody. Now, as we look ahead to week number 20, the best game will be in San Antonio. Wemby will be waiting for the East's best Detroit Pistons. They travel to Texas to take on the very hot San Antonio Spurs. You're no doubt going to hear a lot of talk about possible finals matchup when that game is played. And you know what? I wouldn't be surprised if that happens. I know I just said I would be surprised if they made it out of the East. But again, this team wins. And at the end of the day, that's what you want out of your basketball team. They're winners. So let's see. It certainly could be a finals matchup. It will be a very good game. Now we end with a segment we call Full Court Press, where normally I ask AI for its thoughts on viral trending NBA press news as we head into week number 20. But instead of asking AI, I came up with my own topic this week, and it's a simple one. What is the MVP? This is something that's bothered me for a really long time, to be really honest with you. We're going to start with a little English lesson, all right? And I had to look this up myself, so I'm not teaching y'all anything. I'm just repeating what I learned. In the phrase most valuable player, the word valuable is an adjective modifying the noun player. If you look up the definition of valuable as an adjective, you'll get a clear and concise definition. Worth a lot of money. Now, if we settle on that definition, every player in the NBA is valuable, with the average salary being around $12 million a year. But obviously, the valuable in MVP means something else, more along the lines of having desirable or esteemed characteristics or of great use or service. Neither of those definitions really help us, though, which is the real problem with the MVP. No one can tell you exactly what it means. It really is a subjective award given to whoever the voters feel is most deserving that year. And yes, voter fatigue is a real thing. For some reason, voters don't like to give the award to the most deserving player every year, opting instead in some seasons to give to the player who hasn't won it recently, or at least not to the player who has won it recently. Is that fair? I don't think so. So, what's the answer? First, let's look into the players that are normally in the conversation for the award and see what players fit into each of the categories for this particular season. Let me tell you what I mean. Generally, the MVP award conversation starts with whoever's leading the NBA in scoring, right? This year, that's Luka, and Luka is absolutely in the conversation. Then a lot of people will say, well, it's the best player. Right? Now, if you use game score to determine the best overall player, that would be Nikola Jokic. The best player on the best team is another category that we use and hear a lot, though. The best team in the West, it's close, but let's give it to the Thunder. That's Shea. The best player in the East, that would be the Pistons, of course. That's Cade Cunningham, again, in the conversation. Shea's in the conversation. And then you get this kind of subjective category, the most impactful player, right? This season, that might be Victor Wembanyama. Now, those are the categories that are generally in the conversation when you discuss MVP, the best scorer, the best player on the best team, and the most impactful player. Those 5 players this season, that being Luka, Nikola Jokic, Shea, Cade Cunningham, and Wemby, those happen to be your top 5 contenders in 2025-26. So it makes sense. Let's add into the mix a 65-game rule. Right? Jokic can only miss 2 more games to be eligible or to not be eligible. Wemby 4, Luka 6, Shea 7. Cade is safe. He's only missed 6 games, so he has a cushion of 12. But we have to add that into the mix because some of these folks might miss a couple games and they're no longer eligible. But we still have to figure out how to pick a winner. How do we decide the MVP in a way that's a bit more objective as opposed to just I think I want to give it to Cade or whoever. What if we simplify down to their rankings at the end of the season in categories that display 3 things? Number 1, their individual brilliance. Number 2, their overall game. Number 3, the success of their team. That seems fair to me, and you can quantify all 3 of those. To determine individual excellence, let's just look at your scoring. If you finish as the top scorer, you get 1 point. Second gets you 2, and so on. To determine your overall dominance, we use game score. Use the same scoring method. First in game score gets you 1 point, second gets you 2, etc. Then, where did your team finish in your conference? If your team finished 6th, you get 6 points. Second, you get 2. Nice and easy. So let's use that criteria, using just those 3 quantifiable metrics to see who the MVP leader is right now. And you might be surprised, it's not really close. First, the top scorer. That's Luka. He's number 1. Shea is number 2. Nikola Jokic is number 6. And Cade Cunningham comes in at 12. When it comes to game score, Nikola Jokic is number 1. Shea is number 2. Luka is number 3. And Cade is number 9. And when it comes to your team performance, Luka's team is in 6th. Nikola Jokic is in 4th. Shea and Cade, they got their teams at number 1. So when we line up all of those numbers, let's average them out and see who the MVP winner is at this point using these objective rankings. Remember, you have to have the lowest score. Cade Cunningham, his average is 7.33. So he would come in 4th right now using these metrics. The third best player would be Nikola Jokic. His average is 3.67. Luka Doncic would be number 2 at 3.33, which means that the number 1 overall player using only 3 quantifiable metrics, scoring, overall performance, and team brilliance, is Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. His average is 1.67, which is far and away the best. That makes the 2025 NBA Objective MVP Shai Gilgeous-Alexander of the Oklahoma City Thunder. Sounds good to me. Let's see how it plays out. That's it. Week number 19 of the 2025-26 NBA season is in the books. Join us again next week after week number 20 when we once again run it back.